Everything you think you know about starting a conversation is pushing people away. And the reason your relationships stay shallow, your small talk goes nowhere, and you keep leaving interactions feeling empty is because you've been opening with the most useless question in the English language. You know that person. Within 5 minutes of walking into a room, people are leaning in, laughing, opening up. They're not funnier or louder than you, but every conversation they have feels like it matters. Meanwhile, you're stuck on repeat. How are you? Good. You? Good. And 2 minutes later, you're both on your phones wondering why connection feels so hard. Here's what nobody tells you. The quality of your relationships is determined entirely by the quality of your questions. Not your personality, not your looks, your questions. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you why 89% of people are functionally invisible in social situations despite desperately wanting real connection and the exact pattern the other 11% follow. The ones who make strangers feel like old friends in under 10 minutes. This isn't about faking charisma you don't have. It's about one shift that changes every relationship you will ever have. Let's get into it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. How are you? Is not a question. It's a reflex. And everyone already knows you don't want the answer. The proof? You're preparing your response before they finish speaking. You're not listening. You're waiting. And the person across from you feels it this low-grade sense that they're performing for someone who isn't really there. They can't name it, but they file you away under fine, but forgettable. UCLA researchers tracking thousands of daily social exchanges found that over 60% contain zero genuine inquiry. People speak at each other, not with each other. They exit conversations having learned nothing real about the person standing right in front of them. And then they wonder why they feel lonely in a room full of people. You're not bad at socializing. You were handed a broken script and never given a better one. Here's the deeper problem. You've been taught that being a good conversationalist means being entertaining. So you show up performing instead of connecting, but you've seen it with your own eyes. The most magnetic people in any room are almost never the funniest or most talkative. They're the ones who make you feel like the most interesting person alive for 5 minutes. That is not a personality trait, it's a decision. You don't have to be interesting. You have to be interested. People who create instant deep connection follow a specific pattern. They replace reflex questions with what researchers call bridging questions, questions that start in the ordinary and pull toward the meaningful. Harvard studied pairs of strangers using 3 different conversation styles: standard small talk, forced icebreakers, and bridging questions. 6 weeks later, only the third group had formed real connections. They remembered each other. Several were still in contact. The other groups recalled almost nothing. The door you choose determines the room you enter. Here's someone who built an entire career on this. Oprah Winfrey. Thousands of interviews. What made her untouchable wasn't empathy alone, it was her questions. She never asked what everyone else asked. She asked what happened to you, not what's wrong with you. She found the human detail in every person and pulled the thread. Nobody forgets the person who made them feel that way. When you make this shift, 3 things happen. You become memorable not because of anything you said, but because of how you made them feel. The conversation does the work for you. One real question generates 10 minutes of genuine exchange, and people start seeking you out. Because in a world full of people waiting for their turn to talk, you become genuinely rare. Quick question. Think about the last conversation that stayed with you. The one you replayed later. Was it because of something the other person said or because of something they asked that made you think about yourself differently? You already know the answer. Now here's the moment most people miss, and it's the one that costs them the most. If you keep asking safe questions, people will treat you like a safe person. And safe people are rarely chosen. Not for the promotion, not for the relationship, not for the friendship that changes your life. They're liked fine, forgotten faster. The people who get chosen for rooms, for opportunities, for the intimacy that actually sustains you are the ones who dared to ask something that required a real answer. Here's the framework. 3 levels. You move through them in order. Level 1, the real entry. Instead of how are you, try something specific and observable. You seem like something good happened. What's going on? Or what's been taking up most of your energy lately? Not deep, but real. They require an actual answer, and they signal immediately, I'm not running the script. Level 2, the bridge. Take whatever they said and go one layer deeper. They mention work, don't ask what they do. Ask what part they'd keep if they could only keep one. They mention the weekend, don't ask if it was fun. Ask what the best moment was. You don't need more questions. You need to go deeper with the one answer you just received. Level 3, resonance. What's something you've changed your mind about recently? What would you do differently if you weren't worried about what people thought? You don't open with these, you earn your way here. But when you arrive, the conversation becomes something neither of you expected and both of you remember. And here's the thing, nobody wants to hear. If you leave this video and still open with how are you don't have a communication problem, you have a courage problem because you already know what to do. The only question is whether you're willing to be the person in the room who actually means it. Here's where most people fail with this. They treat good questions like a performance. They memorize the list, deploy them strategically, and people feel it immediately, that uncanny valley of someone being deliberately interesting at them. Performed curiosity is worse than no curiosity. It registers as manipulation. The technique only works when it comes from genuine wanting to know, which means the real practice isn't memorizing better questions. It's deciding before the conversation starts that this specific human contains something worth finding. Because they do. Every single one of them. You just stopped looking. The transformation isn't complete until real curiosity becomes your default. Not a technique for networking events. A permanent shift in how you enter every conversation. When you've truly integrated this, you won't think about what to ask. You'll just want to know. And that unperformed, unstrategic, completely real is the most magnetic thing one human being can offer another. So here's what it comes down to. Stop opening with questions that have pre-approved answers. Start at the surface, bridge toward the human, go to level 3 when you've earned it. And do it because you actually want to know, not because you want to seem like you do. Don't announce you're changing how you talk to people. Just show up differently in the next conversation you have. Ask one question you actually want the answer to. Then listen like the answer matters. Come back in 90 days and tell me what changed. Not just in your conversations, in your relationships, your opportunities, the way people think of you when you're not in the room, because knowing better questions means nothing. Asking them is everything.